Okay, welcome to WLF Kicks, and we've been doing video chats and all sorts of stuff like that. We're back to basics. We're just audio, and I've got a very special guest. He's been in the news the last week or so. Warrington coach Steve Price. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, it's been a busy week, but very content with the decision we made as a family.
Now, I'm not sure what the weather's like in Warrington, but down here in London, it's quite nice today, and I guess when you get a nice day, you might find your mind drifting to home. So, is that sort of a something to look forward to, and something that's kind of like a real positive in your life now that you sort of know you're going back to Australia and that you've got a finish date?
Yeah. So, Steve, I've got to be really direct and straight here. I've loved every minute of this club, and I'm still contracted here for another year until the end of October. And I'm very driven to for success here at this club. It's a fantastic club, and a great playing group. So yes, we are moving home at the end of the season. It's all about it's a family-based decision, but I'm not looking any far ahead than until the end of the season. It's the weather can be up and down, but there's a lot of good things living up in the north of England, which we loved every minute of, and will continue to do. So, yeah, the weather can be a bit up and down, especially the months of December, January, February. But we're coming through the bad bit and coming into spring, and hopefully summer won't be too far around the corner. So, once the season comes around, then we'll be heading back to Australia. But currently our main focus is a tough pre-season at the moment. They get harder every year. You're trying to squeeze more and more out of the players. We've got our first scrimmage session next week against Widnes, and then the following week on the 18th of March, we've got Chris Hill's testimonial. Then we go straight into our first competition game against Castleford on the 28th of March. So it does come around quick, just can't wait for the season to kick off.
Can you share with us when kind of like we heard about it a few days ago when the club put out a release? Can you share with us the sort of circumstances when, in your mind, it was your plans were sort of solidified and that you knew and that what you were going to do, and that and the circumstances where that decision was made? What was happening at the time?
Yeah, it was about 2.5 weeks ago, Steve. I remember my wife and had general discussion, and we just felt that the time was right, to head back to Australia to be our fourth year here with 3 young girls, and haven't really had a great opportunity to be able to express themselves and be kids, especially with what's going on in the world currently. So, we just come to a decision that we'd rather be honest and upfront with the club. I was very transparent with Carl, my CEO, my owner in Tom Moran, and the chairman in Stuart Middleton. I had a meeting with them and just told them my feelings, and I felt that getting it out in the open a number of weeks before the season kick-off would be a good decision for the club and the playing group, with no distractions leading into the first round, and also too, it gives an opportunity for the club to go and chase the best candidate. So. And also too, it gives me the opportunity to just clearly focus on the season with no distractions and clear thinking.
Yeah, because I know like some people they every chance they get they'll dash back to the Southern Hemisphere, and you were never one of those people, were you? You were someone who wanted to see as much of Europe as possible and wanted to make the most of this, as an experience. So, you talk about. It wasn't the classic kind of homesickness that you sometimes get with players. You know what I mean? It was. It's obviously.
That's far from it. We love the Warrington town. We've invested heavily into it. I'm always doing community events and charity events. Currently, it's hard at the moment with what we're going through, but. I actually do love it, and we've seen a number of different parts of Europe. It's not homesickness whatsoever. It was just purely based on the family decision and around the girls going forward.
Mate, as far as pre-season training, a few things have happened since last pre-season. But the big one, obviously, that everyone's talking about, and if it was like normal times, it'd be I'd expect to see him in all the national papers. Is Greg Inglis joining the club? Greg, what's it like? What was it like when he first walked in, to training? And what sort of, how do the sort of younger guys in the club interact with him? I mean, have you got guys who are trying to be cool? They're trying to act cool, but they're actually a bit starstruck. What's their sort of personal interactions like?
Just with Greg, mate, for what he's done in the game, and it just goes to show, what sort of person he is. He's just a really humble, genuine human being. He's been class from when he first walked through the door, and I remember, I think it was about later on in the first week, he had a very tough session. It was a boxing session because we slowly integrated his training because he hasn't done too much over the last 2 years, and he got beasted and there was sweat all over the wrestle mats, and he was the first bloke to go down and get the mop, put a bit of detergent in the bucket with a mop, and mop down the whole wrestler mats. And I think that was one of the things what the young bloke saw straight away. Is doesn't matter who you are, what you do, is that you always put the club and the team before yourself, and that was a really good eye opener for the young blokes. When he walks through through our doors at training, he's the first bloke to go up to the young blokes and give them a knuckles. You can't handshake now, but it's he does spend a fair bit of time with the young blokes and take them under his wing and doing a lot of one-on-one videos. So he's come from two really solid systems in Melbourne and South. He's a senior player in our leadership group, and just a fair dinkum, genuine bloke, mate.
Mm-hmm.
He's been great around our organisation, and just the little one-on-ones and the experiences he's got in the game has been invaluable.
Yeah. And mate, Gareth Widdop, there was a little bit of conjecture about him in the off season. How was that all settled down? What's the sort of real story there?
Yeah, Gaz has been class. He went back to Australia for a couple of weeks pre-Christmas. He come back in a really good head place. He's training, fantastic, and he hasn't missed a beat. He's been on the field. He's a main driver of our offensive plan, and can't give Gareth a big enough rap, mate. Very happy with how he's going, and expecting a big year from him.
Yeah, and captaincy change, mate. As far as Chris Hill kind of standing down from that role, how has that sort of played itself out? How was that decision arrived at? It was his call, was it, or?
Yeah, it was a decision. Me, Jack, and Chris. We had regular meetings and we had a discussion. I think it was about 2 months prior to Christmas, and we just come to the conclusion that what was best for the team. The discussion we had, it's always open and honest and transparent, and we felt the best thing for the club going forward was with Jack Hughes in the hot seat, and Chris has got his full support. He's another one, mate, who's he's done a lot in the game. He's been at the top of the tree for a long time, and just feel with the weight of the shoulders and the expectation of our club without the captaincy has played a big part in how he's carried himself throughout the pre-season. He's another one who's hitting PBs in the gym and also too with his running on the field. So he's another one I'm expecting some big things this year.
Mate, just a couple more things. Being knocked out of the semis last year, I watched that on TV, and can you give us an idea of just the depth of your despair that night? Because it just was a horrible thing to watch, and must be a lot of things going through your head on a night like that. All over the course of your career, it was just a terrible thing to watch. What was it like for you to experience?
We try to pull that out of our mind, mate, and just focus on this year now. It does, feel a fair while ago now because I try to erase those bad memories. But from what I can recall, if you're leading up to the second last round of the competition, I think we're all on equal points. Was it us, Saints, and Wigan?
Yeah, it was tight.
It was all on equal points, and then they cut the competition short. and I think we got relegated to third spot on points difference. So we ended up playing whole. We were gaining a bit of momentum at the back end of the season. Played a red hot the whole team, and we went at the races on the night, and we got beat fair and square. So we had to cop our medicine, and we've had a good opportunity in the pre-season to evaluate ourselves and the areas we can do better and improve for the upcoming season. And we're very happy with how our pre-season's progressed so far, Pal.
Last question. You go back to the Dragons winning the competition, and and before they won, they insisted that we don't listen to anyone calling us chokers and blah 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 blah. And then when they afterwards, all the players came out with it. It had been on their minds all along. And they just kind of buried it. And just with I know it's fun. It's always your year. And you hear it every time you play, particularly away. But I mean, does that if you're walking around Old Trafford with the trophy at the end of this year, does that give it that extra kind of satisfaction and sort of vindication that whole thing, which I guess the Dragons had to deal with too before they won their first competition? Is it? I mean, what is it like to sort of live in the shadow of that? And you try to put it out of your mind, but in the end, it's going to be a driving force, isn't it, on a big occasion?
Yeah, that's right. And we had the opportunity in our first year in 2018 to go to Old Trafford against Wigan, and I thought it was a really quality game, and we got beat by the better team in the night. If you cast our mind back to the Dragons in 2010, it was really clear, and there was high expectation of the club because the chokers tag from the past, and Wayne played a big part in that. The coach he took a lot of pressure off the players in terms of the hype around the club and what was getting driven by certain outlets, and a number of those senior players, jumped on board with, Wayne, and Wayne took the pressure, off the players and lit a few fires externally to distract certain people, and it certainly was a smart ploy, and they're things I've learned over the years, and there's still a long way to go in the season. But our main focus, Steve, is just to get off to a good start and play the style of footy which we're working extremely hard on.
And can you give us a clue where you're going to light some fires then, or not?
I'll keep that under wraps at the moment, mate. But hopefully we can get down there, and there's a few volcanoes going off later on down the track.